20th century American farms, cleared by pioneers, built up generation by generation. This is achievement. Under widely varied climatic and soil conditions, progress is constantly generation adding its own step in the process of building up toward a greater tomorrow, a goal somewhere on ahead. That's the way you build, step by step, in a nation or on a single farm. You start with the soil, add a few buildings. Gradually, you build from there. Like Wayne Dickinson, farmer, and Esther, his wife, both born on farms, lived on farms all their lives. Now they have a place of their own. The former owners let it run down, but the Dickinsons have started again the step-by-step building up. Already they envision their goal. They see their farm not as the rundown property it is, but as it when the building up is done. Their farm tomorrow. Better buildings, soil enriched by conservation, upgraded livestock, better machinery, running water where it's needed, a profitable place to work, a healthful place to live. But all that will come a step at a time, with good planning, sound management, hard. And right now, it is hard work, lacking some of the facilities that make work easier, make more work possible, make building up faster. Even keeping clean is hard work. Pump and carry, that hard work can earn the equipment that in turn means more profit, more progress. If they're fortunate, young farmers have the help of experienced old-timers, like the Dickinson's man, Pappy, who has worked this place 40 years, won't leave it, practically came with the deed. Hard-working, ever-loyal hands, like Pappy, are a priceless work power on any farm. Nature thrives under their care, and their greatest satisfaction is to see growth, although it's too right in their judgment.
Time it takes to heat that water for the dishes. Ah, well, just wait till we get our plumbing in.
Plumbing? What's this about plumbing?
Yes, Pappy. The next step we take in building up this place is going to be running water all through the farm.
Carry your water, I say. That way you know where it is and how much is there. We carried every pail of it on this farm for 40 years.
No, Pappy, our minds are made up.
But if you just got to spend that money, why, a new building for them little pigs, now that would be something else again.
Oh, you'll get a house for your precious hogs, Pappy. That's in the plans, too. But now we're going to have water. It'll make all kinds of difference around the barn and yard. Certainly make Esther's work easier. And then, too, it's time we thought a little more about health and sanitation around here. For the kids' sake, if not for our own.
We were just wondering, Pappy, if you knew the best plumber in town. We haven't been around here long enough to...
Plumber? Plumber, you say? Why, doggone it, boy, what am I around here for? Can't I lay pipe? You gonna let me sit around here and do nothing?
No, Pappy, there'll be work for you, don't worry. But we've had experience with running water. Both our dads had it, keeping it in tip-top shape afterwards. But who's going to be the plumber? That's the only problem now.
Many a farmer's problems are answered through his mailbox, his traditional contact with industries built to serve him.
Hi, what's in the mail?
Look, Wayne, this may be the answer to what we were wondering about last night.
Oh, it could be. Well, let's see him the next time we're in town. At least ask us to visit him. you folks?
Well, I don't know. We just dropped in because we got your circular on farm water systems.
Circular? Oh, you must mean my Home Desirable, a little magazine I mail out. Have I met you before?
No, our name is Dickinson. We took over the old Fowler place.
Yes, I know. Well, I'm glad to meet you. I'm John Rourke.
How do you do?
I know your place pretty well. By there a couple of weeks ago. That's how I happened to put your name on my mailing list. By golly, you've certainly done a lot to it in the short time you've been there.
To be done, though.
Well, you're never finished on a farm, are you? But you've got good land to start with, the main thing.
We're the place we've been looking for.
You milking many cows out there now?
27 now. Feeding a few steers, too.
Well, I sure wish you luck. That farm's been sort of an eyesore to this district for years. We were all pretty happy when we heard a couple of young folks had come to take it over. If ever I can be of any help to you, well, I'm always here.
Well, I don't know. We're just wondering about running water on the place. Don't know whether to bother with it or not.
Well, you'll have to be the judge of that. I've installed a good many systems around here, and I don't remember any of the farmers wishing they had their old windmills back again.
No, I guess not. Don't know whether we can afford it, though.
Well, that depends on what you need. Seeing what kind of an installation you want.
Oh, I don't want very much. Line into the barn, a couple of plumbing fixtures around the house. Just a simple job.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got to go out to Norm Hancock's, just beyond you there. How'd it be if I stop on the way back, and if you've got an idea of what you want, I'll look the place over and come pretty close to telling you what it'll cost.
Well, oh, I don't know. All right, then. No harm in finding out. You know where the place is?
Oh, yes, I know the place. I'll see you tomorrow, then. Well, thanks for coming in.
From that minute on, the Dickinsons had another partner in planning the future of their farm. Wayne's water problems became John Rourke's problems. How they worked them out together is a story being repeated daily throughout America as farmers take the next step in building up. Let's hear Rourke's own version of this one.
The next day, I went out to the Dickinson place. He'd certainly made an improvement. Some new machinery. Barn was tidier than I'd ever seen it. Generally, the place was starting to look worked again. He had a few water problems, all right. In the first place, the old well was too close to the barn. It wasn't healthy. And him with 2 little children, too. There was a much better location for a well, up by the house, on much higher ground, and far enough away from the barn to prevent contamination. The capacity of the old well wasn't enough for Wayne's water needs either. So, first we'd have to drill a new and bigger well. Like any good farmer, Wayne's first interest was his stock. He really had a water problem there. He'd been using a pump jack to get water across to the tank, and sometimes it took until 11 in the morning to get... Wayne already knew that individual drinking cups would give him at least an extra can of milk a month, and the first thing he asked for was individual cups at every stall. Time saver, money maker. This boy Wayne was proving to be a pretty smart farmer. Wayne's next interest was the milk house. His dairy reports clearly indicated the need for a better water supply. He had a makeshift line from his well to a cooling tank. Actually, Wayne needed cold water running through the tank a little faster, and a line to his hot water tank for sterilization. I had to consider Wayne's long-range plans, too, make allowances for his future needs. For example, a new hog house that he planned to build near the barn later on, and an increased chicken flock. At that time, Wayne only had about 250 chickens, not really enough to justify an automatic drinking fountain. But he expected to increase his flock as soon as he and Esther got time to look after them. Well, I was pretty sure Esther would have that time, as soon as she got water in the house, so I planned a line to the chicken house to save carrying the water. Well, that was it for the barn and farm buildings. All I had to do was pace the length of the water distribution lines needed. There was an ideal location for the septic tank and drainage beds near the house, on the side opposite the new well. Next, I had to consider the house. Esther had a pretty good idea of what she wanted. A well-laid-out kitchen where she could work quickly and efficiently. That kitchen was a real problem, all cut up with doors and windows in the most inconvenient places. But Esther knew what she wanted. How to get it for her was my problem. We could get a 60-inch sink under this window. A nice, pleasant location, too. But the window was too low. We'd have to raise it up about 4 inches. Then we could put in a good work surface right over to the corner. We could move the range, but that still didn't give us room for the refrigerator. We'd have to move the rear door the sink was. That would give us a good, workable plan with the refrigerator next to the door. Well, that was it. We'd do a little remodeling and give Esther a first-class kitchen. There was only one location for the bathroom, off the bedroom in a large closet. We'd cut a new door from the hall. There'd be plenty of room for the water closet and lavatory. Since the room was just 5 feet wide, a fully recessed 5-foot tub could be installed with minimum work. Of course, the window would be over the tub, which we didn't like too well, but it was a pretty good solution for an old house. In the basement, I advised Esther against laundry tubs until she could have a utility room upstairs. The new well would be right outside that wall. So I'd put the pump in the corner, and the tank and water heater alongside, with hot and cold water faucets and a hose to fill the washing machine. I had a real drainage problem. 2 small children make for a lot of washing. We'd need a new drain to take care of that. Well, that ended my survey, and I made a date to meet the Dickinsons at my store the following week to see the plans and fixtures.
Hello, Mr. Dickinson. Ms. Dickinson. Oh, how do you do? Well, that was nice timing. I just finished getting the data together for you. Now, here's what I planned according to our conversation the other day. This is the general layout. Your new well will be here, near the house, and big enough to give you plenty of water. Pump and pressure tank are in the basement. Then we'll run this supply line out from the house. Here, we'll put a faucet for fire protection. Now, these lines supply the drinking cups, and this one runs to the present drinking tank for the steers. Then we'll run a branch line to the milk house. Now notice, I've indicated provision for another branch line, so when you build your new hog house out here, we can get water to it without much trouble. I've included a line to the hydrant at the chicken house, and I'll provide a connection for a future branch line in case you want to extend it at any time. And here's the location of the septic tank and disposal field. Looks pretty good. Ought to save a lot of work for both of us.
What about my kitchen? What's it going to look like?
Well, there it is. You remember, we moved this door so we could install a more efficient kitchen. Here's the refrigerator, the stove. Here's plenty of working surface and cabinet space. The sink will be over here under the new window. And here's the bath, with an entrance from your bedroom, also the hall. You see, you have plenty of space for a big closet. In the basement, as you remember, we were planning on installing a hot water heater in addition to the pump.
Well, it sure makes a nice layout. Don't know that we can afford it, though. How much is it going to cost? Well, there's the estimate, everything included.
Mr. Rourke, can you answer the phone? It's Mr. Hancock.
Will you pardon me a moment? You two look over the estimate while I'm gone.
Look, there it is. Why, his price is less than we figured we'd have to allow.
Shh, not so loud. It looks good so far, but I just hope he included everything we talked about the other day. Let's see. Does this include everything, Mr. Rourke? All the labor, materials, installation, and fixtures?
Yes, everything. That's the job complete.
Can we see the fixtures you plan on installing?
Sure. I have them here on display. Now, of course, you're not limited to these items. I picked what I thought you'd like as a basis for my estimate, but I want you to look over my complete line and choose whatever suits you best. First, here are the 3 bathroom fixtures I figured on. They're beautifully styled, built to last. This tub is made of long-lasting, rigid cast iron with a good, thick, shiniest glass. This lavatory, or wash basin, is vitreous china. As easy to clean as your dishes. Look at these faucet handles. They're beautiful and so easy to operate. The closet is vitreous china, too. Easy to clean, easy to keep clean. Its cleansing action is vigorous. I know you'd appreciate these bathroom fixtures, Mrs. Dickinson.
They are beautiful, Mr. Rourke. But what about the others you mentioned? Tubs, for instance.
There are 3 kinds of tubs. This one of cast iron, others of an earthenware material called Duraclay, others of pressed steel. Each has its features. All are good. Here's a Duraclay tub you may want to consider.
I think I like that one the best. The one you included in your proposal. That wide seat will be convenient when bathing the children.
Now, there are other lavatories I want you to see. They're all high quality. One will last just as long as the other. It's all a matter of style. Take this one, for instance.
I think I like that one best. It matches the other 2 pieces so well. Well, that's fine for the bathroom. Now, what about the kitchen?
Here's the sink. A sunny day with under-sink cabinet. Of course, you're going to have extra cabinets, both wall and base. The sunny day sink makes housework easier. The double drain boards afford lots of room and are pitched to drain into the sink basin. This sink is really very easy to keep clean, and I'll show you why. The sink and the drain boards are made all in one piece. One smooth surface from here right across to here. There are no joints or crevices around here to catch dirt or moisture.
This will be fine. It's beautiful, Wayne. Well, that takes care of my department. I'm satisfied.
What about the pump, Mr. Rourke?
Well, there are 3 of the types generally used. For your job, considering the probable depth of your new well and the amount of water you'll need, I recommend this jet pump. It has only a few working parts. That minimizes maintenance requirements. And I know it'll give you all the water you need.
Well, you know more about that than I do, so I'll take your word for it. And I'll hold you to it, too.
All right. Come over here. This is the heater I included in the price. I handle heaters that use coal, oil, gas, and electricity. If I remember, you expressed a preference for an electric heater. You'll find this one economical to operate, and it'll keep hot water at your faucets 24 hours a day.
I'll take your word for that, too, Mr. Rourke. Well, that looks like all the fixtures. Hey, not yet, honey. We can't get everything right now.
Someday, though. And it's worth waiting for.
Yes.
And one of these days, we'll be putting in one of these modern heating systems, too. But what about our present job? Are you completely satisfied with it, Esther?
Oh, yes. I'm very satisfied.
Well, I think we'll go ahead with it, Mr. Rourke. How soon can you start?
We'll be finishing at the Hancock farm next week. I'll start at your place the following Monday. We started right on schedule. One of my mechanics and I laid out the location of the underground water supply pipe, and he started digging the trenches. We've used this machine for a couple of years now. It digs a trench faster, better, and at lower cost than hand labor. As the trenches were dug, a plumber mechanic laid the water pipe. A frost-proof hydrant installed near the chicken house completed the outside water piping job. Next, we laid out the location of the disposal system so waste could be safely taken care of. Here again, our trench digging machine came in handy. On this job, we used a steel septic tank. Sometimes we use concrete tanks. All depends on conditions. For the entire disposal system beyond the septic tank, we used fiber pipe. It's easily laid and roots can't cause trouble. To backfill the trenches, we again used mechanical methods. They're time savers and money savers. I told my well driller to use a steel casing large enough to ensure a sufficient volume. And a few days later, we struck plenty of good, clean water. Then we ran a pipe through the basement wall and connected up the new pump. We installed faucets in the milk house and another faucet in the barn. The drinking cups were put in, and after the water was turned on, the valves were adjusted for volume. Building the bathroom required quite a bit of preliminary work. First, we marked where the fixtures were to go. Then plaster and lath were removed. Holes for the waste outlets were cut through the floor, and we were ready for the actual installation. Each fixture had to be vented to the outside air so sewer gas couldn't back up into the house. This meant a hole through the ceiling, one through the roof for the main vent pipe. Making joints with lead and oakum for some of the waste lines, and cutting and threading steel pipe for others looks easy. Actually, it takes years of experience. Installing a bathroom calls for a lot of piping, waste pipes and vent pipes, lines to bring in hot and cold water. We know a piping system must serve for many years. It's going to be plastered in permanently. So it was just good sense to use the best material available. Proper functioning of the plumbing system is impossible without correctly installed concealed piping. Before the room could be plastered, the bathtub had to be set in place and leveled to ensure correct drainage. We cut a new door from the hall into the bathroom, giving access from the rest of the house. Remodeling in the kitchen began with the removal of the old sink, probably a marvel in Grandma's day. Things have sure changed. Then the old hand pump came out. To me, that relic was a symbol. The Dickinsons had parted with the past. We're taking a big step toward better living. The carpenter cut a new rear entrance to the kitchen. Afterwards, he closed up the old one. He removed the window in order to replace it with one that would fit over the new sink. Like the bathroom fixtures, the sink had to have hot and cold water piping, a waste line, and a vent line. The plasterer added his know-how. Then the prefabricated cabinets were installed, carefully leveled, and firmly anchored to the wall. The undersink cabinet was leveled too. Esther's kitchen already looked more modern. Vital operating parts of the faucets were assembled, and the completed sink was placed in the leveled cabinets. The factory-made countertop fitted perfectly, and the kitchen installation was complete. After the kitchen was done, work in the bathroom went right along. The closet bowl was set in place and fastened to the floor. Then the closet tank was installed and bolted firmly to the wall. We hung the lavatory and connected it to the wall piping. When that was done, the bathroom fixtures were all ready for service. With the redecoration of the bathroom and kitchen, our work was done.
Yes, Rourke's work was done, for the time being anyhow. Eventually, there's always more to do. We call that progress. Rourke and his men had done a fine job, and the Dickinsons were a happy young couple. They had stars in their eyes that day, especially Esther. Everybody drank a toast to running water. And you know, before the glasses were half empty, they were already talking about that utility room for Esther. How it would have a convenient place for the men to clean up and leave work clothes near the outside door. An adequate supply of softened water for every need. And of course, modern... But all that would come later, in due time. Yes, they drank a toast to water and a better future. The Dickinsons never realized how much running water would mean until they worked with it for a while. No more pump and carry. Simply turn it on and use it. And when you're through with it, down the drain. What could be more convenient? A day at work or play. Cleaning up was a real pleasure, no longer a task. Among other things, running water saved Esther enough time to get those extra 200 chicks and look after them. Wayne was a much more efficient farmer with running water wherever he needed it. His cows gave more milk than he anticipated. A full extra can the first week after the new installation was finished. His milk was grading better because he had plenty of hot water for sterilizing and cold water for quick cooling. Everything was so much easier to keep clean. Even Pappy was won over. His protests gave way to pleasure and progress. And this wasn't the end, just another beginning. The step-by-step building up, what we call achievement and progress, never ends. Those who build and grow, like the Dickinsons, never stop. They only pause long enough to see how far they've come, where they're going. Then they start planning step